Hello everyone, welcome to a new video. Aren't we having fun, right? Everything is going as we expected, as all the charts were telling us. Boy, what a journey since the top in Q4. I didn't have many followers back then, but we've been showing all the weakness here, a huge reversal, and now everything that we've been pointing out here has been working since the correction on the daily. I said this was really strong. The fact that it went sideways instead of just pulling back to this demand area that many people said it was necessary. I believe it was PTSD, fear, still disbelief, right? When you see people calling for bigger pullbacks, as if that was the recipe to avoid fear, to have some real strong confirmation. I think all that reflects is that people are still in disbelief. So you need like extra confidence, extra confirmation to support the current move. When everyone just is afraid of a pullback. I mean, sorry, not afraid, but they don't even think about a pullback. And if there is a 40% pullback, they start spamming all the buy the fucking dip. That's when we know that we've been in a complacency period for a long time. Everybody is fed with gains, with paper gains. Everything looks so good that even a 40% drop is not scary. It's just a huge opportunity to load up again. That's the period we will face later on this cycle. And I think by the charts that I'm gonna show you now that we are very close to that moment. You know, I've been cautious until charts tell us to be excited about it. Perhaps excited is not the best word, but you know what I mean. So I'm not gonna talk about psychology for now, but I'm gonna analyze the BTC charts. I don't want to make this video very long, but hopefully it will stay short so you cannot get like lost in so much information. So back to the charts. Here, BTC. I pointed the two next levels, which were 98, around 98 and 102. Boy, what a daily candle we had yesterday. We had the break above the EMA. We know that means acceleration. And this huge candle, as I explained in other videos, happened because we crossed about the 70 RSI. And I said many times that crossing about 70 RSI doesn't matter the time frame. It's when the most bullish moves happen, right? And I also mentioned that we don't have to think that being above 70 or the moment it starts flashing green, it means we are overheated. It means we are in the area where magic happens. When we get about 80, something like that, we might think about being overheated. But until now, this is the gold area, right? And we can see this huge daily candle that sliced through 102K. And BTC today just perfectly bounced from this. I mean, BTC, I said when we popped here from 84, with all the requirements that I said, the weekly breakout, the 200-day moving average being above, the 4-hour as well, all that was the recipe for a big move, right? And this consolidation right above, I said that could act like a launch pad. And I think it's clearly being a launch pad. I said we would pump without hesitation. Here we are. Right? This is not the time for your PTSD to wake up, right? And think, is this too overheated? Are we too overextended? That's fear. That's fear. That's a disbelief, right? That's what make most people, if they are sidelined, to be still cautious but getting anxious because it keeps going up and I'm not in the market. Or if you are running altcoins and you see them start them to move again, but it's still early, you fear that this could end soon because of oscillators. Don't get obsessed with that. That's why we focus on the weekly. Until we don't see weakness on the daily, very overheated levels, we won't really pay attention to the daily. We just let it go. Everything looks phenomenal. Technically speaking, this bounce is huge if it holds. Perfect retest. I said if we hold this 205, 102.5, we would probably revisit the all-time high. So we will see. We are in a new daily trend. Remember that it could stay overheated for quite some time. The daily looks good. No divergences inside. This is wonderful. Beautiful chart. If you go to the weekly, I mean, I think you remember when I posted this was the engulfing candle that pretty much confirmed the together with the divergence on the daily. This was the reversal. Well, and we saw in 2024 how it developed, right? But I also said October 23 because of the vertical accumulation. I mean, this is even better. This is the acceleration mode, the phase of the cycle that could perhaps look like a blow off top. I mean, we still have to break all-time high. Don't get overexcited. But to break all-time high, we have to go through these first, right? And everything looks great. There's no invalidation anywhere. We have this new weekly cycle. I posted yesterday that perhaps you now realize how important the RSI and especially the EMA, something that I learned it was really, really important quite some time ago, both for to the upside and to the downside. And again, above 70 is where magic happens. We are not even about 70 here. When we broke the 70, we had these 3 huge weekly candles, right? From 68 straight to 90 to 100 pretty much, right? Like a 30K move in 3 weeks. We are not even there yet. Please, I'm not trying to be overly bullish now. I'm just saying we apply the same data and we apply the same logic here. It's fair to assume that when we cross, if we cross this, magic will happen. And I believe it will happen simply because we are above the MA. If we were in this case, if we were in this scenario, I would say perhaps we don't cross 70 because we are below the MA. This was all the chop that crushed people, right? Their hopes, their everything. BTC wasn't going to reach 100K this cycle. Remember that in summer? Because I do, right? All while BTC was just correcting a huge move from 27K to 70K. This has been the tone of this whole cycle. Big accumulation, big move. Big accumulation, big move. Accumulation or correction, big move in the making, right? So everything looks great. And the final boss, the 1 month, I said that perhaps we could see a rejection here at around 100K, 91, 95, something like that. I said back there, it's impossible to know price-wise, just as a guidance. And we could see a rejection, and it could be a dead cat bounce, and it's over. But so far, with these prices, if we don't retrace in May, we have printed across. That's why I said we don't have much data. I said every time the RSI and the monthly was below, it was over, right? The cycle was over. That was what data was showing. But at the same time, we have some examples. This is the COVID crash. This is Black Swan, right? Where it didn't happen. The thing is, we don't have many data points. And I said perhaps we see something like 2021. Slight above all-time high, but not powerful enough to break the MA. This was mostly future driven, right? Speculation mania. But here we can see it's a spot driven because of this is my interpretation, because of RSI. RSI is climbing as strong as price is doing. And we have this huge correction on the stock RSI at levels not seen since the February 23 breakout. Please think about that. This is the monthly chart, right? I don't think about targets. I don't think about timing. I just write the charts. That's why when people ask me, yes, I know you want to know when it's gonna blow off, when everything is gonna go big and please give me the date and the target. That's impossible, man. If you still think that way, you're gonna get wrecked sooner or later, because you will start probably following people that tell you what you want to read, and you will get wrecked. So all I know is, if this is not a fake out, which could happen perhaps in June, it rolls over. If this is not a fake out and we push higher like we did here, this is not the same as here, but again, here it looked like it could be over, right? If this is a new monthly trend, buckle up, right? No one knows shit, right? I don't care if they pretend, if they sound confident, if you think because they are experienced, they really know what's going to happen. No one does. Because if they did, they would be fucking billionaires, and they are not, right? So all I see, if we are starting a new cycle and stock RSI supports that, right, this could be huge. Because here, even here, right, stock RSI was like in the mid area, like ready for a second round, and perhaps the last one, right? That was the suggestion at the same RSI top here. You could say, yeah, bearish divergence, blah blah blah. This looks weak, and then we lost the EMA. It's over. Well, let's wait for further confirmation, right? The thing is, as I said with SPX, is that these huge corrections and sentiment drops reset completely the cycle. The monthly cycle in this case. Again, this is a full reset. I'm not trying to interpret the charts of the data bullishly, but we have this bullish cross here, right? When crossing again. And we have this huge run. When we have this cross here, it was lower levels because of bear market. We are starting a new cycle. We are about to have that cross. We have that cross right now. If this was the daily or the weekly, we would say this is a new cycle. Looming, still not confirmed. Perhaps we need a retest or being higher, whatever. So far we have a cross. And let's see how it develops, but it looks really good. If we take a look at total 3, boy, this chart is, I was saying just yesterday, how can someone be bearish here? We had the March 2024 as support, and I said this was a matter of time that we test this again. We have the daily correction completely reset, as I said, and yesterday we started crossing the EMA. Boom, we broke above. I thought that perhaps could be a little bit more difficult. We pretty much, let's say we retested it today, and off we go. This is the key level for what? Intermediate level, this 930. But the higher time frame, considering this is a new weekly cycle, I expect to test this. And trust me that I don't think it's going to stop here. Why? Just apply some logic. This is the place we started the last weekly cycle in November. And it topped in December, a month later, just 4 weeks, right? I'm going to show the weekly chart now to see the weekly cycle more precisely. But the thing is, look at the starting point and compare it to now. Let's say here, right? Well, even though the bottom was here. Let's say this is the bottom, right? So imagine this. I'm going to use a quick... I'm not a big fan of fractals, even though sometimes I use them as guide. But let's imagine this is the situation we are seeing right now. It's the breakout. What do we do with the previous level, which in this case was the 2022 bear market? We slice through it. Perhaps some resistance, hesitation, boom, whatever. Look at the daily. Still room to go, right? Several days. That's why when we see this, we go to the weekly and see how it's doing. But look at this. Even just these would bring to a new all-time high for Altcoins. I said in a post, sorry that I don't have all those posts ready, but I said that BTC, these highs, BTC was already almost 2x above 2021 highs. which were 60 something, 65 or something like that. And the altcoins had just been rejected. I mean, they haven't made a new all-time high compared to 2021. Some people, I guess pessimists, would say that is bearish because they couldn't even break. But if I see the BTC dominance chart, and if I see that Bitcoin hasn't even finished its whole cycle leg, all I see is simply that the move for total 3 is still pending, right? So if I open the weekly chart, I'm going to remove the fractal for now. We can see that this weekly cycle with the break and the retest was in October, right? So the breakout happened differently here, right? It was the resistance acted as resistance longer than here. We just had this W kind of V-shape attack, and now I'm going to remove the key, and now we are above it. Let's say we are here. We are above the RSI. Stock RSI is still even lower, right? And we are here, breaking this. Look at that huge move. If I just say that we are here, right? We are breaking that candle. Again, new all-time high for altcoins. Would be pretty much like a 2x, more than 2x from the bottom for the whole total free market. It's just an orientation. Again, I don't play around targets. I'm not saying it's going to happen because it's a fractal, and for now, it's very easy to make fractals look like the way you want them to look. So I don't really use them much. So it looks wonderful. We have a new weekly cycle, and I posted the same way I posted the final boss for BTC. I decided to take a look at the monthly for total 3. Sorry, and this is, I'm going to remove everything. And this is what I saw. And I posted it, yeah. We are slightly crossing, right? This is the month to cross, right? And look at the kind of levels. Pretty much like BTC back to September 23 levels. Even just getting to 70 RSI, you can imagine how high it can go. Right, 170, as I said, or 170, 60, something like that, with the fractal that I used, right? If we finally break above 70 RSI, imagine this is the round similar to these ones, right? And this is the moment we break the RSI. And I'm just thinking, what did BTC dominance did back then? When we broke, well, total 3 broke 70 RSI, when was that? BTC dominance peaking. Do you see the confluence now? Do you see that perhaps being impatient in BTC with BTC dominance is not very smart? That if we are climbing this high, if we have the all-time high, really, very close, well, BTC dominance isn't still dropping as far. Perhaps this is the beginning. But by the moment it starts, it could be at new all-time high with price discovery. In fact, if we take a look at the 2017, by the moment it started breaking the 70 RSI, it was perhaps here, more or less. This candle was threatening to break the previous all-time high. What did it do? Sorry, boom, completely obliterate the previous all-time high together with the help of BTC dominance. We could see the same thing. That's why I said yesterday, please think big until data invalidates that. This is the first time I talk about thinking big, right? Because I don't want to be super bullish when there is no reason for that yet, technically speaking. I learned my hard lesson years ago, right? Of being overly optimistic just because you want it to be. Just because you want the price to keep climbing, because you also need that. And you start hyping yourself up. And when you see a correction, you hold because it can go really, really higher. No, let's just follow data. Let's just control emotions now. I said not long ago, that charts won't be the problem to take profit and to make it. It will be controlling the emotions. Don't start following random accounts that all of a sudden they were nowhere to be seen in these corrections, but now they start looking or talking about huge new projects that look very promising, because we are entering in that phase where shitty TA works because everything goes up. So I can just say, yeah, we're gonna do this pound retest, and then boom, and that happens. Just fucking random TA, and it simply works because just squiggly lines work when everything's going up. So be careful. All I say is, same way I said in the last video, how can someone be bullish with this structure? How can someone be bullish when we haven't even reached euphoria levels, right? In fact, let me just look for my, quickly, because I have a post about euphoria. I want to look for that. I think I won't find it, but it's about, whatever, sorry, I can't find it now. It's about euphoria, because I said with BTC, I can perhaps show it here. If we go to the, this is the monthly, I said how I wouldn't bet on weekly. Yes, on weekly cycles without pure euphoria, without 90, 88, even 88 here. I can't call tops without huge euphoria, right? We can take a look at the monthly without being at least above 70 RSI, like with real strength. I mean, not even flashing here. I want to see that before calling a top, right? I want to see real euphoria, because I think that's the nature of cycles. Humans are greedy. Market makers are greedy as well. Why won't they just maximize their returns by taking advantage of greedy plebs like we are? So I don't see a cycle ending without euphoria, ending in disbelief, in worry. What, have you ever known any cycle ending like that? I don't care if it's stock market or whatever. There's always some kind of complacency where everyone is winning on paper. Everyone. How do you attract new participants if you don't make them believe that they can easily win, right? How did we all get attracted here? How did people get attracted in 2017? How? Because you start reading ridiculous gains in a short time and in a very easy way. I think that will happen again. I'm completely sure. Again, no one knows, but that's how I feel, right? And I will bet on that until charts tell me otherwise, right? So total 3 looks tremendous. This is just starting, in my opinion, right? Again, we have the new weekly cycle starting now. Even if it just goes to 80, and we don't see the euphoria here, 88 like we see in March. You remember with Pepe and all those memes, everything was about animals and frogs, and it was ridiculous, right? It was everything pumping daily. Doesn't matter. At least I expect that. At least. Right? And now I want to take a look at the king, BTC dominance, because I found something very interesting. So far, look at the chart. This was the initial arc, and I said I don't care if it hovers around here, and then it eventually drops. If you've been following me, you know I mentioned that. And I said, holy shit, this is the daily RSI. I didn't see that yet. The thing is, I said these divergence still, RSI level hardly surpassing this level, right? This was building, and I said the longer it builds, the bigger the drop, right? No one expected here, perhaps they keep saying, yes, people talking about BTC dominant stuff while it keeps rising. And I said, here in the daily, the same thing happened with BTC. It was building weakness for a month. No one really cared. Because up only, the same thing happens here. People think it will never drop because up only. There were signs. I don't care if it keeps going up. This is a trap. Could be a trap. I said last time, please look for lower low, for a break of this structure. And I said, perhaps we retest Fibonacci level. Man, we have crushed, we have sliced through it. Because when everything is very overextended, it could really easily roll over. And this is making a new low. even new low here. If we break below 63.18, I think this is a change in the structure. And with this huge drop, I imagine that the weekly will start looking juicy. Boy, I mean, I'm just checking this in real time with you guys. Look at this. We have the break below the MA. Could be a fake out like here, or just confirmation. This was the start of the Q4 run. I said yesterday I wouldn't buy this. I wouldn't buy these RSI. I wouldn't buy these stock RSI if this was an altcoin. It was still at 65, 60, something like that. Tremendous. And it was about time. The same thing will happen with your altcoins at the top. I will warn when I see signs of overextension, and perhaps it takes days or weeks to materialize. And you think I'm wrong. Perhaps this time is different, blah, blah, blah. You are exiting earlier. I will probably look dumb when I exit and everyone is still holding. But you are 2 or 3 weeks away from looking smart by selling early or looking really stupid by holding, right? You don't need much. And right now, I said, this is not a good looking chart to buy. Would you really buy this? What do we have now? A break below the MA. Do you know what happens next? Acceleration. This candle is engulfing. This is huge. Last time we see such a candle was here, right? Perhaps here. But the situation was different here, right? Because the oscillators weren't really that hot, right? Again, it looks wonderful. This is what we have been looking for. Slicing through 64 like it's nothing. The rollover. Again, remember, hovering here and perhaps breaking eventually. This looks strong until it doesn't, right? This is overheated. And if we go to the monthly, look at this. Starting to roll over. The last time it did, it retested the MA. Huge monthly candle. Pretty much the November, December run we had. Remember when I said that real big moves happen when the MA is lost? This first impulse, and this is the huge all season in 2021. But perhaps this month, if it keeps dropping, we will have this retest. If it breaks, buckle up. Really, buckle up, because if it breaks, that break could happen with stock RSI perhaps here. And we have this whole run to go to the bottom, to be overextended. And even here, look what happened. That's why stock RSI is more for confluence, right? Because if you sold here because you see these levels, you missed everything, right? So this is not the only indicator or the main one. We are slicing through in real time. This is wonderful for our altcoins, and I can already see that Ethereum is flying, ONDO is flying. Of course, everything is flying because BTC dominance allows that. I just said yesterday, we need BTC dominance to go down. This is what's happening. And something that I found today was this chart, BTC dominance, because it was yesterday when perhaps it's already broken, because I saw that. Yeah, look at that. I posted yesterday at night, right? 2 a.m., something like that. I want to make a new post tomorrow with BTC dominance and total 3, because I found something very juicy, interesting data. What's the data? BTC dominance needs to break to lose the 4-hour like it did here in November for our alts to really run, apart from Fibonacci levels. And what do I wake up to? I mean, it's the first time it loses the average this way. Q4 run, right? Doesn't it align with the BTC dominance chart we have just seen? Tremendous move here, 4-hour. I mean, I barely have had time to show you these guys, but look at this, wonderful. Do you want more confluence? Let's go to Ethereum BTC chart. Holy smokes. I talk about this area, flashing red, EMA coming down. This is the only bottom area that I said. I said these candles look very different. We didn't even chop like this. Boom, straight up. If this is not a very different behavior from what we've seen, I don't know what to tell you. This is a whole new cycle for Ethereum BTC. I I posted around here that everyone was calling for the bottom, opening every day they open a new chart, they find something bullish. That's the problem here. You have to use the same charts over and over again. That's the only way you can find progress. Think about this like going to the gym. You don't change exercises every week. It's impossible to track progress that way. You have to use the same ones and slowly progress. The same things happen here. You use the same charts and you don't change when it doesn't work your way. You just keep following them, right? Because if they were your reliable source before, they should be now. And we have the perfect bounce from this bottom area. I draw this path like it happened here, but Ethereum decided just to say buckle up. Boy, this looks wonderful. Everything looks great now. This is the time to enjoy, to let it all run. Remember with ONDO? Because I do. I posted. ONDO is an example of a full daily reset, right? The first daily impulse rejected perfectly by Fibonacci, and for now holding the next one. And it's fully reset while making high highs and high lows, and people were worried because of this pullback. And I said I would come back later to this tweet. I mean, I didn't expect to come back so early, but here we are. Daily cross. Remember the way it looked here. RSI below. Now we have the daily cross, daily MI cross, boom. For now, today being rejected by this Fibonacci level after holding this one, right? This is the reversal daily divergence like with BTC. This is a matter of time that we slice through this. This is the daily candle. If you get worried about it getting overheated soon, go to the weekly. What do we have? Finally, the break. As I said here, it wasn't ready. This was like a fake out. This took a few more weeks. This is just a small, we are not ready yet, but we will be. And now what do we see? New weekly cycle. Let it run. Many altcoins have already this weekly break, right? So if we quickly take a look at this coin, I mean, you can obviously do this with all your coins. I haven't done this with ONDO, which is one of my coins. If I see the 4 hour, it's obviously way above it. In fact, we can see that since April it was hovering above it. It was look good for continuation. And what about the daily? Still below. Still work to do to fully send, right? But it's looking good. That's why it might look that ONDO looks, I don't know, perhaps a little bit sluggish at first. It depends on the weekly breakout, the 4 hour and the 200, as I always said. If we go to total 3, here. We go to total 3, we needed the 200, the daily. What do we have now? Boom, break. Right? Now we have all the requirements for it to jump. Because if we go to the 4 hour, we have perfect support here on bounce. Reclaim and off we go. Reclaim and off we go. Remember when I posted these charts? This is all here. It's everything aligning. It's wonderful. It's wonderful. Here in February, it's as back as it goes with the 4 hour chart. Again, reclaim, boom, off we go. This looks tremendous. Really. I don't know what else to say. And all we need to do now is just hold and wait. Again, I posted the gold BTC chart here at the top. Yes, perfect. This is the new leg. Acceleration. Everything keeps going as planned, as intended, as the charts were telling us. This is huge, guys. Everything looks good. Pay attention to this guy. Pay attention to this guy because this BTC chart could really be meaningful. Perhaps we finally have the rollover that we were waiting for. Let me just open it here again. Perhaps we have the final rollover. What if we have a retest here of the Fibonacci? Who cares? Just let it all develop. Again, the key, breaking below, right? With this small retracement, still not below the weekly EMA, but just let it. Let's see where the weekly ends. If it's below 63.5, something like that, it would probably already be below. First real target will be perhaps the 61.8 on the weekly, right? Strong resistance here. Perhaps it acts as support. But if it doesn't, I say, what if we drop to the next Fibonacci level when the structure is broken, when there's a true reversal? This is a huge move. Because this move from 64, 65 to this is similar to the Q4 run. Only that. So let it all play. I think everything's going good. There might be some pullbacks, small intraday pullbacks. Who cares? Just I would focus on the weekly now. Don't be glued and worried about a 10% move today, which ends in just 4% because this is the retracement. Is it because it's really of it? Don't sweat the low time frame, because low time frame is very noisy, and we have entered the volatility period, and it's to the upside now. Let's wait and see how it all develops. The key for our altcoins is total 3 being above resistance, right? And that's what we wanted to see and what we are seeing for now. So I hope this video has been useful. We will have many changes over the next days, hopefully to the downside, right? I'll keep you updated if I find anything useful. Have fun, and I hope you're making already good money. See ya, guys.